Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to another episode of Ramadan Nights with K and A and K. That's Kawthar and
Ali.
So we have previously talked about how to connect to Allah or how to improve our spiritual state through our marriage. We went on then to talk about a few different things in the last episode. And now we come back to talking about how we can develop ourselves through our relationships. And our topic today is how to develop ourselves through our children. So it's a bit different to a normal parenting topic.
Yeah.
We did a parenting course actually.
Yeah.
A few months ago.
I can't remember. Before the lockdown.
Feels like ages ago.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, when they want to know about how to parent, they want answers. What do I do? What do I do with these children?
And that was very apparent in the workshop, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
People just wanted answers.
And people are fearful. People are fearful.
Yeah.
But what we wanted to do is flip it around a little bit, because we don't want to give you parenting tips. We're still,
We're not perfect.
Not at all. What we want to do really is teach you how, because I think actually we can approach it in a very different way. We can say, rather than how can I teach my children and keep them on the right path, what can I learn from them? Because it's through our self-development that we can then develop our children in the right way.
I can probably think that people are screaming to the screens now, saying, "How can I learn from my kids? Kids are, they gotta learn from me." And
well, that's the traditional way of looking at things. So we've got through quite a few points that we can use through our children learn and develop ourselves spiritually, psychologically, and in every way really. So the first point really is that our children are the biggest mirrors into our
they're a reflection of us,
psychology or
definitely.
our soul.
Yeah, they're a reflection of us.
So it starts off when they're a young age. So I can remember the times when especially when my first was really young, and when you Amina, you don't really know what you're doing at the beginning. You can get quite stressed about every little thing. And the more stressed you get, the more the child acts up. So when you want it to eat this particular dish, they'll just spit it out in your face. When you need to leave the house and you want or you want them to be on their best behavior because you've got people coming around, that's when they'll cry the most. Because they feed off your psychological state. The more stressed you are,
especially the mother, right?
The mother spends most of her time at the beginning.
But isn't there this connection with the babies with their mother? And,
absolutely.
And if the mother is stressed or she's got anxiety or whatever, then it definitely feeds into.
There's been a lot of research that shows. There's been a lot of research that shows that a lot of psychological and mental health problems in adult life are linked to a mother having postnatal depression. So even when the child is not even going to remember the specific incidences, there seems to be a correlation. So actually it's hard at the beginning, but if you are listening to the cues of your child as to when you need to slow down, then that can be a really valuable thing. Then when they get to toddler age, they get to the age then when they are saying no, no, I'm just not doing it. And then they're really pushing your buttons then. Really triggering you.
We all know what that's what that is like. Yeah.
So actually, and they often trigger you the most in the areas that you probably, I don't know how, so things that are unresolved for you from childhood. That's the things that really annoy you the most. There are things that annoy you that will not annoy me. The things that annoy me that won't annoy you. And they teach you more about yourself and actually where does that come from. And if you explore where has that come from, why am I so triggered by this thing, then you can really learn a lot about yourself.
What's one thing that you've learned from, say, your eldest, Amina?
So Amina. So then you get to the next stage.
Yeah.
Right. So they're older, and they actually can verbalize it. And one of the things. So Ali used to travel a lot, right?
Yeah.
As part of his lectures. So one of the things I realized is that one of my triggers was trying to get somewhere on time. It really, really triggered me, and I was just frantic and crazy and shouting and get changed over there and you get changed, and I was just like that. I was on hyper mood.
Amina's 12, Ahmed's 8, and Sarah's 4.
She's almost 13.
Amina's nearly 13, yeah.
So, and then what happened is that Amina, one day, I got into the car and I was just so stressed. I was on that steering wheel and she just said to me, Mama, you're stressed. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm fine. I'm okay. And she's like, Mama, you're stressed. You need to calm down. Okay, take some deep breaths. You need to calm down. And I just took one step back and I thought, she's right. She's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can learn from them. But does that mean that only that particular age, or you can learn from younger as well?
No, but that's why I've said every stage you can learn. They're a baby, they teach you. It's about how you receive it. Traditionally, we've come from cultures in a very top. Just speaking of the devil. This is my daughter.
By the way,
this is Amina.
Everything they're saying, none of it is true. They don't do any of them. I try to tell them. They don't listen.
Thank you.
Nothing.
Thank you.
They just don't listen.
Thank you very much. We're gonna cut this. Thank you very much. We'll cut this. Thank you.
I've completely lost the thread of what we were saying.
Okay. Thank you.
So, traditionally. Yeah, so we never listen apparently. Maybe that's a good point. Maybe we need to reflect on that. We're not very good listeners. That's the problem. We've come from cultures where it's a very top-down approach, where it's about the father. The father earns respect, and you must listen to the father no matter what, right?
I mean it's
so it's hard to shift.
Yeah, but generations have changed, haven't they?
It's not just it's just changing the way you look at things. Because if you look at them as your teacher, and it doesn't mean you let them run riots and do whatever they want. Yeah. What it means is
we differ in some of the style of parenting. I'm a bit more sort of old school in some cases.
Authoritarian.
I don't know about authoritarian, but a bit old school, and you're a bit more perhaps new school. I don't know. There is such a thing.
I think the bottom line of what I'm saying is your children can be your best teachers.
Yeah.
Because there's nowhere to hide with children. Spiritually as well.
And also there's a second point as well, isn't there? Which is
spiritually as well.
Yeah.
They are, so for example, a lot of people tell me that how can I get my child to pray, right? My child's not praying on time. Can't get them to pray. But I think that actually if we really reflect and we look at our children's desire or love for prayer, we can actually say that, we can actually look at ourselves and say, actually, do I have that love for prayer to be able to instill in my child? And the other thing is the love of Allah.
Absolutely.
You can't teach a child to know Allah's presence if you have a doubt in your heart about Allah's presence. You can't, because children can see right through you. They can see hypocrisy a mile away. So you can use an opportunity where you think that, okay, I need to teach them that by connecting yourself. If you manage to learn a way to connect to yourself, then you can, through them, learn deficits that you have in your spiritual side. It's not just your psychology, it's your spirituality.
Absolutely. And honestly, throughout the years that we've had children, I definitely can remember instances where they've sort of left their sort of child or children style of talking, and they've actually spoken a bit like adults, and they've talked to you about your emotions, and sometimes if you feel angry or you feel emotional, they say, are you okay? Why do you feel stressed? As you gave that example, and you think, how did you notice that? And sometimes you try to hide your emotions from them, but they just get it. They get it.
And sometimes we make the mistake of actually reacting in anger. How dare you say this to me?
Yeah, absolutely.
How can you be so disrespectful? But actually, if we're able just for that split second to think about what they're saying, what they're trying to tell us, then we can really, really develop and grow.
And also there is a second point, isn't there, which is about, I've noticed this. Sometimes when you come from work and you quite, you find that things are a mess, and you and they know that you're someone who wants things tidy and things like that, but you see them purposely making a mess, and you start shouting at them and it actually teach you about the status of your ego, don't they? Because if you just stop at that moment and reflect and you think, okay, so they just push me to that particular limit, but then why did I react to that? Because I want to show them that I am boss, because perhaps I'm not the boss in my work, but when I come to my home, I want to show everyone that I am the boss, right? Yeah. So therefore, I've got to be that authority to say, no, you gotta pick this up, no, and say it in such a language, but in fact they're showing me they want to test my ability to just try to diminish the ego, and not say I am the boss, but actually work with them to try to solve this matter.
Because the reality of life is that we are not in control of anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
And coronavirus has taught us that. Yeah. We've planned and we have no control. So we have this idea that somehow the one thing we can control is our children. Okay.
Yeah.
So often what people do is they take out whatever they haven't been able to control, like you said, in the rest of the spheres, and use that, and it might work initially because your children love you and they'll just want to please you. As they get older, they'll start rebelling, and that can push you even more. But you mentioned about the wanting it to be tidy. It can also make you reflect on, why is that so important to you? Why does that make you feel that way? There's so many things that you can use that point as a point to think to yourself, why am I like this? To understand yourself more.
But also at the same time, and I think we've run out of time, but I think at the same time, we've got to also parent, right? And not just, let them do whatever they want to do. I think people might hear this and say, well, you're being like these parents would just let the kids just do whatever they want, let them create a mess, no, that's not what we're saying, is it? But it's all about boundaries are very important, and you've got to teach them boundaries, but it's all about your reaction to these particular cases. And sometimes, honestly, with mental health problems in kids, there's a rising levels of mental health issues in kids. And the way that sometimes we speak to our children perhaps is affecting their mental health. And you don't know, and a lot of, I'm not a psychologist, you're the doctor, but correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't a lot of the problems that come later on, the mental health problems come, actually, have if you go back in their history, you'll find that they've gone through a tough, their parents,
a huge trauma.
Absolutely,
huge
their
trauma.
Parents sort of maybe abused them, or perhaps they didn't parent well. Maybe they were always shouted at, and etc. So we've got to really be careful, be careful into how we speak to our kids. So inshallah, in the next episode, we'll continue this discussion. Inshallah, with some more points, inshallah. And as we continuously do in this show, we end our program with asking for donations to the poor. And Noor Orphans Fund are doing this campaign. So the details are below. Please donate as much as you can. It would be amazing to give, to put that smile on the faces of the orphans in Iraq, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your fasting. Until next time, please don't forget us in your dua. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.